Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about how I decorate my home at fall. Now I'm going to give you a couple of different ways I do this because some of you will want to keep some of your florals, some of you will want to just kind of throw in lots of different throws that you've already got handy, and some of you may want to add in some new arrangements. There may be those of you like me who in some areas of the house can't really do it by yourself and want some extra help. There is something for everybody. Welcome to today's Decorating for Fall with me. As some of you might already know, I love to visit the flower market. We have a really great flower market close to where I live. It's called the New Covent Garden Flower Market. If you get there early enough, you might see me trawling around the market picking flowers. But at fall, what I like to do is treat myself to one really large arrangement. And so what I do is walk around the flower market with absolutely no floristry experience. I just go around picking really what I love and what feels like fall to me. And there's a very fine line between fall and Halloween. I always find this a bit tricky because, like I say, I'm not a florist and I want it to feel very fall-like, but I don't want it to sort of edge on the Halloween feeling. I've gone around, picked lots of different roses, foliage, and just lots of different oranges and reds so that I can create my own bunch. I love having one main central floral arrangement for fall, and that's the one that you'll see behind me here. But of course, what happens is I'll end up having lots of different leftover flowers and foliage from the main bunch and the main sort of setting. And so I'll then use that to make smaller arrangements that I dot around the house, just so that the house feels linked in terms of the floral arrangements. And another thing I really love about fall and about picking the flowers for fall and splashing out a little bit is that actually what's so lovely is you can retain those flowers. You know, they're quite lovely when they look dried in fall. So you've got these orange, rustic chic dried flowers, and you know, it just adds to that feeling of fall and the crunchiness that you can almost hear when you look at the flowers. So I love that, and I think it's a great way to save for weeks in fall time because of course you do get to keep these flowers for quite a long time and the arrangements. One of my big tips with making your big floral central arrangement, and really it's only because I've been watching so many YouTube videos on floristry, is investing, if you can, in a Lazy Susan. Now, I wanted a really beautiful Lazy Susan because we don't have so much storage space in the house. So I wanted a Lazy Susan that I didn't have to put away every time I went to the flower market so that I could actually use it as part of the display in the house. And behind me, you can see I have found this beautiful Lazy Susan that I sometimes forget to use just because it's so fantastically easy to use that frankly I forget that I now have one. But it's really fabulous. I put it in the middle of my island and it's got this rope all the way around and this metal detailing and then a glass inlay. And this is actually an outdoor piece. I can use it outdoors when it's summertime and then indoors when I want to create my bigger flower arrangements. I love that it's round, and then I love that I can use a nice round bowl inside that, so it just feels, you know, very special, especially because everything else in the kitchen is so straight lined and straight edged. So something I have also learned on YouTube actually is masking tape and the masking tape trick. So this is the first time I'm doing it, so you'll have to bear with me. Literally creating a grid on the other side, and I keep forgetting I've got Lazy Susan. So helpful. And then that makes the flower arranging much easier. I will sort of stick that around. Right, it does feel already quite wild. I quite like that not every single one of the flowers is the same size. So I've not, you know, sort of tried to match their different levels as I would on, you know, maybe a bunch of roses or even for, you know, a big bunch of hydrangea, just because I feel that way it looks and feels more wild. And then there are lots of different layers. Anyone who doesn't have a Lazy Susan and likes flower arranging, invest. It's such a great piece to have. I mean, you can, of course, just use any, you know, any bowl. But again, just leaving them all different levels, starting to look quite lovely. Where can I add some in over here? love that. I love a neat bowl of flowers, you know, a very sort of proper trimmed bowl, but for fall, this has to be the way to go. I mean, it's just gorgeous. It's hard to know when to stop. Okay. Okay, so I guess that's my fall look. I really, really love that. Gosh, that was so exciting, I forgot to drink my coffee. So for my next trick, it is getting an existing either dried flower bouquet or a faux flower bouquet like I had behind me here, and actually just adding in some color. So I love, when it's not fall, having just some dried eucalyptus, whether it's dried real eucalyptus or some faux eucalyptus, which I actually did have behind me in the vase here. But during fall, obviously, when we've got these really lovely orange and red colored florals going on, it's quite nice to pull that through in every area. But I don't really want to throw out my faux flowers, and sometimes I don't want to throw out my dried flowers either. So what I do is I just add to an existing bouquet. A lot of people are fearful about adding in dried foliage, real foliage, into a vase full of faux foliage. But actually what I found behind me here is it has worked a dream. I just love how, you know, wild it feels and how natural and how organic. And I really think actually that pulls the sentiment of fall all the way through the home. You know, this is kind of the end of the house when you're looking through the home. Just this wild arrangement of, you know, dried flowers and that crispy feel of fall and foliage adds such a nice energy to the whole of the space. Just wanted to show you how you could just add to an existing faux arrangement without having to change it or really do very much, just to pull that fall theme through. I'm just going to add this into this existing faux arrangement, so I don't feel like I've really got to do that much. And I quite like the fact that, you know, it's leafy and we don't need to do floral everywhere. You know, because there's a lot of floral now in the kitchen. So it's quite nice to break that up and just feel like actually there's definitely fall throughout, but you haven't had to have a whole new arrangement. I've also got some dried eucalyptus that I've had for ages, and it just dried, so you can see it's sort of, you know, the green has faded out at the back, but at the front it looks sort of reddish. So I'm actually going to shove this into my larger arrangement in here. Now you do really have this sense of fall coming through. And like I said, that was just something, I'll pull this out. So you've got some faux foliage, but then you've got some dried eucalyptus, and all together it just makes this really astounding statement on the dining table. You know, it just shows there are ways you can do it more cost effectively and don't have to change everything. Okay, so for my next fall idea, and I mean, it's not a novel idea and it's definitely not mine, what I like to do at fall, if I can, is to go to a florist. Although, you know, I don't ask them to do the whole of my home. I'll ask them to do one piece that I know I struggle with, or one area that I know I struggle with. Now, one of my favorite places in the home is the fireplace area, is the fire surround. I love being here, but of course at fall, it's even more special to have a fireplace and to be around it. I find it quite tricky to create an arrangement above my fireplace because actually we've got a really slim fire surround and we had it sort of chopped down so that it worked with the rest of the room. But that means that it's really difficult for me to get the kind of arrangement that I would want to get done by myself above the fireplace. So I have asked RVH Floral Design to come in and do this incredible fire surround for me. And I asked really mainly to have it in the sort of oranges and reds that I wanted, but rather than have too many florals, I've asked really for it mainly to be very leafy and to feel very rustic. A, because I love those reds and oranges mixed together, but also because I really want that arrangement to last a long time. And I think, you know, if I have a really lovely dried arrangement, then actually, you know, it will last quite some time and I don't have to take it down really until Christmas. So I'm hoping that this stays for quite a while and it makes it worth the kind of spend. I wanted, again, something really leafy, nothing with too many florals. So he's literally given me some dried hydrangea, and then pretty much everything else is really beautiful leaves and foliage. And I love that look. You know, the color allows for real drama, but then, you know, the fact that it's really mostly leafy just sets it all back and makes it much more chic. So I really, really love this arrangement. I did want him to go crazy because I thought, since we're only really doing mainly leaves, why not go for it? I could never have done this on my own. So I'm really glad I got him to do it, because no matter how hard I try, I don't think my arrangements would look like this. So thank you to him. It really did work for me. I absolutely love this arrangement. I trawled the internet to find something really wild and crazy, but still rustic and elegant. So I don't know how I mixed those two together, but it definitely looks wild and rustic. And I also love, you know, just the boldness of the colors surrounding my white fireplace. So I love it and it works for me. But like I say, this might not be an area that you A, have in your house, or B, really want to decorate. So if you do want to get someone in from outside to do something in your house, then I think I would suggest maybe choosing an area that you struggle to do on your own, or alternatively, that's just a really important place. It's in a really sort of bold position in the house, and it's somewhere you really want to make a statement. Mine is definitely the fireplace, but for you it could be the center table in an entrance or the middle of the dining table. You know, it could be so many different areas depending on what your home is. But for me, definitely the fireplace. For my final tip on throws, instead of having it really neatly folded like this, which I often do, you know, either throughout the winter or definitely in summer if I am going to keep the throws, when it comes to fall, just to make everything feel a bit cozier, and because it's going to end up looking like this once you guys have your movie nights on it, I just like to throw the throw like so.
I'm sorry, I really found that joke funny.
In fall, what I like to do is try and keep those looking like this, and frankly, the kids are going to jump all over them anyway, so they're going to end up looking like this. But it does make the room feel a bit more warmer and not so restrictive and, you know, not so smart, as it were. It feels cozier. And so you have it. I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I have loved taking you around my home. I hope some of this has been really useful. Obviously, there's a range of different things I've done here. You don't have to do every one of those things. You don't have to do any of those things, but you can pick and choose if you want to, and I really hope today's been helpful. My home definitely feels much warmer and much more fall-like. Just walking in here feels incredible. I mean, I'm even dressing for the occasion, so, you know, it does make me feel great, and I do really believe in the power of the home and the power of your environment and your surroundings making you feel inspired, more comfortable, more homely, and more warm. So if changing to this look works for you like it does for me, then that's fantastic.